I think the Bible is clear. Being a good citizen, I think we should be involved in this institution. I think we should have our passions, our convictions.
Yeah.
But we gotta keep them in their appropriate place, and we just haven't done that well because those things have become our identity.
Hey, I'm Kirk Cameron, and thanks for joining us for a special YouTube exclusive with Dr. Bryan Loritts. Bryan Loritts is the teaching pastor at the Summit Church. He's an award-winning author of 7 books, and he's spent the bulk of his ministry serving and resourcing the multi-ethnic church. Bryan, thanks so much for joining me today.
Good to be with you, Kirk.
So Bryan, on June 6th, you tweeted, "Texas wouldn't be so bad if everyone there just didn't think it was the best state ever. I have some pretty strong opinions," you said, "on the Dallas airport, the ride to the rental cars, the Cowboys, Whataburger or Whataburger, and their barbecue, but I'll keep it to myself." What is it with the Whataburger thing? Every time I look there, I say, no, it's pronounced Whataburger, like, what a burger, what a great burger.
Right.
And I keep hearing Whataburger.
Right. Well, I'm in Texas a lot. There's a church that I speak at often there, and it's kind of my way of both connecting to and alienating the crowd. There is this, playful arrogance that some Texans have, where they just think everything that they have is the best. So
Yep.
I just it's that spiritual gift of sarcasm that I have that I just enjoy just kind of, So what's funny about Whataburger, a lot of them say it's the best ever. But, In-N-Out just came to Texas a few years ago.
Thank you.
And if you compare the lines in Texas, there's no comparison.
That's it.
In-N-Out is clearly better.
Hands down, it is better. It's important that you have a Chick-fil-A and an In-N-Out burger in your town, because you need that
Yes.
very crucial beef-chicken balance.
Yes.
And they're both companies that have Christian values framing them. So anyway,
Absolutely.
Hey, we could talk a lot about food, but I want to talk about other types of rivalries. It seems like there's so much dividing the nation today. Race, politics, gender, socioeconomic divides. From your vantage point, what do you think are the main monsters that are dividing us as Americans today?
Well, look, I think perfectly you laid your hand on the pulse of the problem, right? And I would even add to that, as a pastor, this whole mask thing and the havoc it has wreaked within the local church. At no point am I kind of recommending or saying you have to be this politically, or you have to, take this ideological position. But I got a friend of mine who says when it comes to gospel witness, gospel culture trumps gospel doctrine. So our failure to love people across the aisle who see it differently than we do, I think has just done great harm to the Christian faith. And I think at the root of all that, Kirk, is those lesser identities have become our ultimate identity. I've got a friend of mine who says Jesus ain't coming back on Air Force One. That we're not the people of the lamb. Excuse me, we're not the people of the donkey or the elephant. We're the people of the lamb. And so, again, that's not an excuse not to vote. I think the Bible is clear. Being a good citizen, I think we should be involved in this institution. I think we should have our passions, our convictions.
Yeah.
But we gotta keep them in their appropriate place, and we just haven't done that well because those things have become our identity.
Yeah, I hear you, and it's hard to do because, like you take the issue of the unborn. Some people they're just losing their minds. They're saying this is setting us back into the dark ages, and this is anti-women, this is anti-freedom, anti-constitution, all of that. And yet, on this side of it, I say, no, my wife is an adopted child. My 4 children were adopted, and we're this close to not existing. Are you saying that they don't have a human identity and are valuable in the eyes of God as much as you are? And in love, I'm saying this. And so they may see one position as a hateful position that I see as a loving position. How, as Christians, are we going to work this out?
Yeah, so, I would be careful and maybe push back a little bit slightly, Kirk. And I know you didn't mean this, but I would say if you take an issue of protecting the unborn, I don't look at that and go, that's a political issue. I look at that and I go, that's a biblical issue, that
Yeah.
Christians should be on the front line fighting for life. Just like I would go, caring for the poor is not a political issue. It's a biblical issue. But I think a couple things complicate this. You have some Christians who would say, I'm just not a single issue voter. I have plenty of Democratic friends who would be the first to say abortion is wrong, but they vote in other ways for other reasons. Just like I would have plenty of friends who would say, listen, I voted Republican in 2016, not because per se I was a Donald Trump fan. I want to be very careful here, but because that party, they would say, kind of best expresses and articulates my values, even over whatever feelings I had for the person, right? And so I think it's a lot more convoluted than what we make it. But at the end of the day, I don't think Christians are ever given a pass to outsource care for the poor to the government, to outsource fighting for the rights of the unborn to the government. In fact, that's the very reason why my own father decided to adopt, is he just felt like for him, he had the conviction, I can't just vote a certain way. I got to have some skin in the game myself.
Yeah, that's right. Salt and light in the world, and bringing the essence of heaven to earth through the power of God working through me and through you and through our families. And man, I think that's why we're here, for the days that God's given us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, I'm always just wrestling with the question, regardless of how I vote, what am I doing to fight for the unborn? Am I helping people adopt? What am I doing to fight for the marginalized, to fight for the poor? I think these are deeply embedded biblical and Christian values that we've got to give each other space to figure out the best way to go about that. You shared your own story as far as adopting. I think you can be a Christian and not adopt. I think you're going to have a hard time as a Christian and not caring for the orphan, just based on what the scriptures teach, especially in James chapter 1. But care for the orphan can look all kinds of different ways. It could mean helping people raise money for international adoption. It could mean getting involved in the foster care system. So we got to give Christians space to flesh this stuff out in ways that are true to how the Spirit of God is speaking to them.
Bryan, thanks so much for being here. And everyone, thanks for watching. Please share this with a friend and be sure to like and subscribe so that you never miss one of our videos.